live. My man Michael is in the building. The world's greatest chef. That steak you made last time was absolutely unbelievable. And I think you made cod as well.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised you remember. Yeah, I cook. I love cooking.
I remember I asked you, what's the secret? And you said the secret is trial and error. You got to feel the steak. You know when it's
exactly.
Cooked.
It's talking. Yeah.
You just know.
The food is talking to you every time.
The food is talking to you.
The food is talking to me every time.
Every time.
Yeah, people ask, what's the recipe? There's none. You just talk to it and you see it, you feel it. And when it's done, it'll let you know.
Were you into cooking when you were young?
Absolutely not. I love eating, but none of it was my cooking. So yeah, it's something you grow into over the period of time. You're always looking for some hobbies. You're looking for some time where you can unwind and relax. And it looks like I found mine. I cook and I play hockey.
You play hockey?
Yes, I do. I did. I think I stopped after a certain number of injuries and broken bones. So cooking looks like a lot more safer.
You ever do like open skates?
Well, I like to have a stick in my hand, so so no open skates. But
I grew up playing hockey too.
We can play. Actually, there's a great skating ring somewhere on Elton Road.
When I go back and I think about all the sports I played throughout my life, hockey was easily the most fun sport. Not even a close second.
That is true.
You get to it's the most truest sport. You can literally get in a fight if you're upset about the scenario and they let you fight. Well,
you go with your emotions sometimes, and that's another way to unwind, actually. A lot of people do it. So, when they come back from work, that's a perfect way to unwind.
Right. A lot of people
releasing the energy into the wild.
People talk about that in like jiu-jitsu, right? And MMA, but
yeah, that hockey, I don't understand. I don't like being beaten on purpose in the face. So by accident, it's okay. But
if somebody punches, those people are insane.
Yeah, no, I would never do go
I'm trying
into
to get
the fight.
I'm trying to get Sky to do it. He wants to do it. He's been training. We work out the UFC gym in Midtown, and Sky loves hitting the bag. He's kicking it. He's punching it. And I'm saying you need to do one.
I'm with you. I got
when the
injuries, I don't need more.
Exactly, and especially when the bag starts punching you, it's a lot less fun.
Not quite as fun, no.
I just think you should do one exhibition fight though.
We might get there
on a small level, like a jiu-jitsu, just to do it. Even if you get creamed, I would party so hard for you. Well, I'm fired up, and it's also interesting when we first met because I want to give a big shout out to Peter, and we actually met at Peter's Minnesota Lake House.
That's true.
Yep. Peter Taunton was on the episode about 3 episodes ago. If you guys haven't checked him out, he's just a wonderful person, founder of Snap Fitness, over 4,600 locations, just like an exemplary person about the type of person I want to, exemplify, but also just a good friend, good person. And he's been able to connect me with such outstanding individuals, such as yourself. And we went to his music festival, the Twin City Music Festival, and that was a good time.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, when, you are in the area of music and everything is, it was a good time.
Front row tickets.
And, another word about Peter is he's so down to earth. It's amazing how he communicates with people in such an easy way. Very easily approachable for issues, problems, and that's great that, other people connect other people. So it's awesome.
And facilitating this great group of people that can have fun together, but also get shit done together.
Exactly. Actually, I'm learning. I mean, this is, I think it's so important to life not to stop learning. And every person you meet, you can learn something. And I think I've learned a lot from Peter, and I'll continue to do so. I think it's a symbiosis between people where they pick up stuff from each other. I think it's awesome.
And something I love about you, and I've just been attracted to the way you conduct yourself, is that you're always thinking, you're always moving, you're always scheming, but yet you surface it with just such a good just humor and comedy and laughter, but the brain's always moving. You're thinking of new ideas at all times.
Yeah, and that's maybe unfortunately because it's been helping me in a way, but also I'm always preoccupied with thinking. Sometimes I can miss some stuff that's going on around me. So I have to learn to relax and forget about it. But you're absolutely right. I always think, and I think it's one of my favorite processes.
One of the best things.
One of the best things.
I feel if you can have fun with yourself in a closed room, then your level of happiness can go up tremendously, right?
Well, that's I don't know exactly what you mean by fun with yourself in a closed room, but
terrible.
but no, I think your viewers will understand exactly what you meant.
Yeah.
So exactly, I actually grew up learning to be self-sufficient at any age, where a kid can play with his own toys and not require some socializing necessarily, but at the same time I think I've balanced a lot of that as well, so I can be either or. I can really enjoy time alone with a book, or really be very socialite.
And you're an engineer by trade. Can you tell us about this? Because you kind of drop it so casually whenever we're talking. You're like, yeah, I have like 100 medical patents on devices. And I'm like, what? Yeah, it's just my side thing, Can you tell us about the journey of becoming an engineer?
Yeah, absolutely. I surprise myself sometimes when I look back and so many things that I have accomplished, and I want to accomplish even more. But by trade, I'm a mechanical engineer. I graduated from the university in Moscow in the field of mechanical engineering, and moved on here to US back in 1990. So actually went to another university in Boston, Northeastern University, where I got my degree in mechanical engineering as well. And it just happened by luck that I ended up working in a medical device field, where we designed medical devices and other technologies, and that's how I got started in the medical device field. Basically, all my career I spent in biomedical mechanical engineering field, developing life-saving technologies.
So you say like by chance, like what was that chance? Did you meet someone? Did you respond to some job interview, or how did that work?
Well, I think, life gives you every day, it gives you opportunities. I mean, whether you see it or not, every single day you have opportunities. And I think you just have to pick up on things that you don't want to miss, and you go with this. And I think it's just exactly what happened. My university, Northeastern University, had a great co-op program where they would place people at different medical device companies, or non-medical device companies for that matter. And I just ended up doing 3 months internship at a medical device company, and I just absolutely loved it. Because, money is a great reward, obviously, but when you see people being alive of things that you've done, it is just going far and beyond, and just picks on your feelings when you see a family and parents are crying and thanking you for things that you've done because their son or daughter are alive because of that specific medical technology. This is a great reward. This is emotionally just so grateful for things that all those opportunities came my way and I took them. So that's what I've done all my life, developing life-saving technologies, whether it's artificial heart systems, we call them LVADs, left ventricular heart assist devices, endoscopy, ureteroscopy, surgical instrumentation, microvasive surgery. I've done a lot of gynecology and urology products, spine reconstructive surgery. I mean, the list goes on, and I'm continuing to do so. I'm continuing to work in this field, and you're right. We have I have more than 100 patents in medical device field alone, and that's what I love to do, and I'm really enjoying it. This is the most important part. My son asked me once, "Dad, when are you gonna retire?" And I just don't know how to answer that. I retire from what? It's like from life, most likely when you end up dead.
Yeah.
But other than that, you just, I can't even consider that work. This is like something that I love.
And you figured out a pretty repeatable process, it seems, because I remember I was asking you specifically what goes through your mind when you're saying, hey, you have this task, you need to design a better, endoscopy scope. And you just go through this process of analyzing it and then reverse engineering it. Can you talk a little bit about like your process of how you kind of approach a new project?
Yeah, it's basically over the years you develop a system how you design products. I mean, any product for that matter, regardless whether it's a medical device or a hockey stick. And the first thing that if you want to win in this process, the first thing you think about the value of new things that you want to introduce that will bring to people. So the process is very simple. You just have to identify what is wrong with the predicate device, what else it's missing, what other things you can do that people can enjoy or have a little bit more value. And that's what defines the next product design specification. You just introduce new values, whether you reduce the time of the procedure, whether you introduce some new features that help the doctors or help the patient to elevate the pain, maybe feel a little bit more comfortable. So the list goes on. There's so many things you can do. And that's what the beauty of engineering is. You basically playing God. You're creating new things that will benefit other people. It's just an amazing process.
And it's got to be pretty frustrating at times, right? When you're like stuck on something.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what engineering is. You look at the paper for maybe 24 hours and you scream, you hit yourself, and next day you do the same, next day you do the same, until all of a sudden you realize you found this. You're looking for this little thing that allows you to solve a particular problem. And this is the great moment where you just, eureka, this is exactly what you were looking for. But it is painful because that's exactly what it is. It's a process of looking at something for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's you against you.
It's you against you, exactly.
And trying to think outside the box. I think it's fascinating how just simple things, like I'm derooted all the podocarpus shrubs in my backyard and I'm replanting them, and I just had little things where I was using hedge trimmers to cut out all of the like the vines and all the different roots, because I'm basically installing shrubs the way you shouldn't install shrubs.
Yeah.
But then I've done this now. I've spent probably 24 hours doing this, and now I found such a better way of doing it. I just use an axe and I just chop the shrubs.
Well,
and I think to myself, why did I not notice this before? But when you keep doing it, you find these little hacks that make it easier.
Exactly, and that's what evolution is. You are part of evolution. You just evolve a little bit more and more and more. You're learning how to do things. And that's exactly what the evolution is.
People need to be down with that process, and they also need to be enthusiastic about that process, which it can be easy to be, upset when things get tough. I know, big shout out to Sky over here. I've been pushing him to do some pretty challenging stuff in terms of learning these programs and the podcasting, learning how to size up all these cigar labels, and you just see him get so frustrated through the day. He's like, God damn it, shit. And now he's gotten it. He figures it out. And it's like, if you can push someone to do something, eventually when they get it, you feel so good about yourself.
Exactly. I mean, you always have to challenge yourself. Sometimes I'm surprised at people where they don't take a second to think about something. And the easiest thing is to complain and complain, and all it takes is just an extra effort, and that's little extra effort is a big problem for a lot of people. And I think if you want to separate yourself from the rest, you have to do something better than the next person. I think it's very important.
In terms of like looking at yourself and thinking about things that you could improve on personally, what are some things that you if you could like correct a certain attribute about yourself that you would want to do better, or like part of a habit that's tough to break and things of that nature?
Hey, I'm perfect. No, of course, yes. Yeah, it's a joke, of course. But here's the thing. I think, in my opinion, you go through the day every day, and you have to constantly adjust yourself, constantly improve on some of the things. And for me, throughout my life, it's been a lot of things that I've corrected. Jealousy, something that, I feel constantly that I have to excuse myself and find reasons to explain why this didn't happen, when all of a sudden you constantly have to adjust yourself and make yourself better, and never complain about things. I never complain about things. It's whatever happens, you are the creator of your own life. So whatever happens to you, it's only your responsibilities. If something you don't like, it means that you've missed something. So you've made the wrong decision. And I think it's cool actually to adjust yourself every day. And although you know something throughout the period of time, this particular quality of you disappears, you constantly have to bring it back. You constantly have to control. You have to control your mind. So some of the things that, again, I've learned throughout the years that I constantly adjust is not to be angry, like at anything. Every time when you raise your voice, you already lost. And sometimes it happens because we get frustrated with technical support or customer support by so many different companies, and we can always complain. But actually, it's a good training exercise. When something goes wrong, I think it's a fun thing to sit back and not to react for the first few seconds, and completely let go. Whatever happens, it goes through one ear, goes through the other. And a lot of times it doesn't happen. You get frustrated. And that's the first thing that I constantly every day to teach myself not to be frustrated. So because frustration does nothing except hurting yourself.
So true. And stress is the biggest thing that hurts themselves. I mean, I'm currently, and one thing that goes along with stress is health and just vibrancy and being healthy, which is harder than most. Like I've had a stomach issue for a very long time called SIBO. And every once in a while, I have to do this like insane diet because I haven't completely solved it yet. It's called the elemental diet. So I'm literally drinking this stuff called Physician's Elemental Diet every day for 2 weeks. I'm on day 5. But what it does is it gives your entire gut a whole reset. And the reason I had to do this was my gut was causing my emotions to like flare. And like I wasn't able to respond to stress when my gut's impaired. So a lot of people right now actually have gut issues. Like I'd say 1 out of 2 people in the US have some level of gut issue. It's just not that bad to the point where they notice it. Where if you work on yourself, you watch what you eat, you do little things, you work out, and you clear that self, you're going to find yourself much more calm, collected, relaxed, and able to deal with stress more effectively.
Exactly. I mean, just think about it. So many years ago, not so many years ago, 10 years, 20 years ago, when we didn't have internet, when the internet was just coming to the surface, how did people learn new things? From the newspapers, books, and different shows. But within the internet, everything that you want to know and everything you want to improve about yourself is right there, right in front of you, in every iPhone, in every iPad, in a computer. All you have to do is just want to find what you want. And it's so easy. If you want to find how to cook, everything is in front of you. If you want to find how to fight, everything is in front of you. So, that's what I've done. I mean, I stopped being lazy. I started learning. If you stop the learning process throughout your life, you're in trouble. This is the end of your life. You constantly have to learn something new every single day because that's eventually is going to help you, especially with health. There are so many things you can do to yourself and eat better. And I'm not talking necessarily about exercising. Food is a big factor. In our society, there are so many things that you can avoid, but we don't because it's a good business. Educate yourself. It's so easy nowadays. It's so easy. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to the library. You just punch a few numbers and it's in front of you.
There was no data back then, too. There was
exactly.
No way
I mean, there's so much that's been collected, especially in the medical field. And me being in the medical field, it's mind-boggling what kind of technologies are being developed right now.
What are some of the fields that you think are really seeing drastic improvements?
Well, cardiovascular field obviously is it's amazing, and spinal industry where you can do so many things for spinal injuries, and it is just amazing technologies in front of us. I mean, the world is evolving at a very, very high speed. If you want to find out about those new technologies, again, this is just in front of you. Just go to YouTube and just type what are the new medical technologies. And, we can print organs now on 3D printers. We can print hearts, we can print livers, we can print skin, we can do anything we want. using your own biomaterials. This is just the future.
Do you find that some of these organizations that are constantly innovating on these devices, is it a community that shares, or is it something that people keep it to themselves because it's obviously they're trying to have like the newest innovation? Or do you feel that the community generally helps each other kind of innovate and explains what they've learned?
Well, I think medical technologies, it's a business. Of course, you have to understand that when the company is starting to develop new technologies, it's costing them millions and millions of dollars for the development, for the regulatory, for testing. So you cannot literally just share it for free. It's not a platform where you develop a software and you share it. So obviously the money is very, very important for the industry. So this way you can do a lot more research, you can do a lot more testing, you can do a lot more engineering. But some of the communities with doctors, they do share some of the technologies. They come actually to those companies and they introduce new technologies, what they would like to see. As a matter of fact, majority of medical devices are developed by individuals, not by companies. And the process is very simple. A group of doctors or a doctor comes up with an idea how to improve the procedure or how to make it better and safer. And he goes to a company, introduces this idea. And usually doctors don't get much for this, but because the company spends a lot of money to develop this technology, and that's how this process works.
Yeah, I mean, while you were talking about that, it made me think about what you were talking about, the always learning need. And I think it's fascinating how in society we typically we're told what to do. We're following certain general rules, high school, college, university, PhD, you move forward, you play certain sports, and you do these things because a lot of your peers are doing them. But I don't think a lot of times people have done that self-work at a young age to think, what do I actually want to do? What makes me happy? And I think it's fascinating how people in their mid-20s all of a sudden begin doing things because they actually want to do them. They start to pick like a hobby or a sport like racquetball or ping pong or something like cross-country running, and they become ultra marathon runners, and they become stoked on it, that they didn't have that passion probably when they're younger because it wasn't as much of a choice as much as it is in your mid-20s and 30s and 40s. And so life is all about finding things that you want to improve on and you're passionate about and what you're going to contribute and what's going to excite you, because everything becomes stale at some point, right?
Well, life is about movement. I mean, we talked about it. If you're not moving in any direction, whether it's thinking or improving yourself or, it's a stagnation. And, life is about movement. Exactly.
I used to say to myself, I used to be a pretty big gamer when I was younger. I used to play a lot of Halo, and I don't know if you guys have seen the newest Halo series on Paramount Plus. It's freaking badass. They did such a good job. I think Steven Spielberg produces it. You might have to fact check me on that. Let's find out about that. But he does such a great job. But I told myself, I used to play StarCraft, World of Warcraft, all that type of stuff back in the day. I said that one day when I'm going to have enough money and I'm like successful, I'm just going to spend 2 or 3 months just going into like a hermit shell and just playing video games for 3 months straight. Now I can't even get myself to do it for like 30 minutes without feeling like I'm just wasting my time. And that's not like...
That's maturing.
I don't know if that is, because I know some people that love it and it's part of their life and their career.
Well, ask me what's the last game I played, because I love playing games.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah, well, actually, it's the last game I think I played was Super Mario on Nintendo in the 1990s. So I'm just lucky because every time when I start playing a game, in about 5 minutes, my head is spinning and hurting. So I think it's my body's telling me something. It doesn't like playing video games with my eyes. Yeah. So I like the real world a lot better. And I think, as we mature, we find that playing real life is a lot more fun.
Amen to that.
Playing real life is a lot more fun.
Real life is a lot more fun. And speaking of a lot more fun, I love your rooftop parties. And you're such a good entertainer, and your friends are so fun. They're just these badass entrepreneurs, but good people that like to have a good time.
Exactly.
And you're really good at like finding that type of person and become like, it's just a great network you've built.
Yeah, I think it's you meet a lot of people throughout your life, but you become friends with people who are very close to who you are. if you're a little crazy, majority of your friends are going to be crazy. And that's a perfect scenario. I mean, just like in marriage and dating, you got to find exactly the same person who you are, not the opposite. Because that's going to be, a lot more fun. So all my friends are exactly like me, and that's the way I like it. But yeah, the rule, everybody's invited.
And you turned me on to having DJs at my parties.
Yes, that was I don't know how that idea came to my mind, but I think it was a good decision. Actually, one of my friends, I think she taught me, and that's how that's why I say that you have to learn from other people. So simple idea, and she said, you know what, I'm going to give you a gift for your party. I'm going to bring a DJ. I have a friend, and that was a great guy, and Ibrahim. Yeah, great DJ. So I think from now on, there's not a single party we're going to have on a roof without a professional DJ. It's just the next kick.
It makes the night so much better. I removed my dinner table last time I had a party and Ibrahim DJ'd, and it was just night and day better vibe because you get, it turns your house party into a party, right? It's like adulting party,
exactly.
Right? All you
great
need is
music,
a live
great
DJ
music.
changes everything.
Absolutely, and it's just the vibe. It's the music. It's the vibrations. It's a perfect scenario. Love it.
Cultivating the right vibe in your life is so important for business, for your personal growth, the people you surround yourself with. Like this community that I met through Peter has become my closest friends in Miami. I love this group of people that I've like that I get to share myself with and just learn more and share myself with. That sounds so weird. And I get to learn more about, and it's constantly improving. That's one thing I'm stoked about, even this podcast, is using this as a platform to meet the most outstanding individuals in Miami and just around the world, to constantly network and find new ideas and new things that are exciting, because you learn so much quicker by just asking these questions to someone versus having to do the Google. Google's going to make it happen, but
yeah,
you can get
true.
The spark notes on just making friends with a good homie.
That's true. And let's plan the next party.
I mean, I know it's done. Once I get these shrubs done, we're going to throw a banger here. It's going to be awesome.
It's got to be Ibrahim for sure.
It has to be. I mean, he's legit. Or Ani and Horacio.
Yeah.
They ripped.
they were also really great.
Check them out on Instagram.
Yes,
They play this like tribal music. It makes you feel some type of way.
I love it.
So let's talk about your baby. So you've gone from engineer to a new type of engineer, building your own business. Tell us about Weedgets, the world's best pipe that I've personally have ever smoked out of.
Thank you.
Just very well designed, engineered. Maybe you can pull it up real quick to show some.
Why not? Well, this is the next baby that I'm working on, the next startup, and it has something to do with weed. Isn't it amazing? This is so funny how this plant went from being completely legal to absolute essential. Because when I was in Boston and everything was closed, they were equal to hospitals and emergency rooms. All the dispensaries and smoke shops, they were open. Amazing. And but my goal in this particular venture is still the same as the goal that I'm working with for my other engineering company, for my main group where we design medical devices. It's just making things a little bit better for people. And it's not about the beauty. It's not about anything else. It's about introducing features and introducing technology that is safer and a lot more pleasant for people. And that's the goal. And this is one of our products. And I think it's our flagship product. This is a Maze-X pipe, we call it. And what it does, it actually does exactly the same as any other pipe does, except that it makes the smoke extremely clean. It removes resin, which is toxic and actually contains very little THC. And this is usually what we ingest when we smoke glass pipes, joints, and pre-rolls, where all this Scooby snacks, as we call them, the problem is so big that people nicknamed it. They call it Scooby snacks, all these dirty bits of hot smoke, resin, tar, and little bits of unburned material gets in your mouth, burns your throat, and how many people can relate? I think everybody who smokes among your audience, they can relate to this. And sometimes it's on your tongue, sometimes it burns your throat, and most dangerously, it actually goes inside your lungs. That's what the worst thing is. And smoke is okay, although it's not healthy for you by all means. Absolutely, it's not healthy for you by all means. But how can we make it a little bit better? So
you mean
this
the
particular
Scooby snacks particularly?
yeah,
right
Scooby snacks. Yeah, this is what everybody hates. Smoking is for enjoyment, not for suffering through burns of your throat, and then you can smoke for a few days because it's itching, and people cough. Why do people cough when they smoke? And even when it's the heat. It's not how the dirty smoke is. It's the heat. It's the same as you go into sauna or hammam, which is wet sauna.
Two things on that. Number one, when I smoke joints, I definitely sometimes get that burning thing on occasion. And also, I don't know why it is, but why when you do cough, why does that make you way higher? Is that just me that thinks that? When I start coughing, I know it's game over and like my night's over.
That's pretty common.
It's pretty common. But what is it? Is it just because it's like shoving the weed deeper into your lungs? Like, what is the...
Well, the coughing usually happens because of the heat. Your trachea contracts because of the heat. So once you in a wet sauna, you also cough. We go to hammam, we go to gym. Once we get in there, because your trachea is not used to that heat, so you start coughing. And actually, you don't get higher by coughing. But usually what happens is when you inhale, it goes inside your lungs, and the absorption of cannabinoids is immediate. So I'm surprised that some people try to hold their smoke inside for a few seconds thinking they're going to get higher, which is absolutely not true. So you get high very fast because the absorption is immediate. So my suggestion to people is you exhale right away.
Exhale right away.
Exhale right away. It doesn't.
You
doesn't
shouldn't
help
do the whole,
you. No, it doesn't. No,
into your lungs.
No, absolutely not. It's only hurting you. So, and for the same reason, when people smoke this pipe now, and we have raving reviews throughout all our distributors and customers and direct customers, saying that where have you been all my life? Because this is the most enjoyable smoke you can have. This is just amazingly smooth. And the reason why it's happening is we're using laws of physics. We don't come up with anything that, out of extraordinary. This is a simple way of taking the smoke through a very long path. You can see that it goes through a very long path on a very short distance by putting the smoke through the maze. And as it travels further, it cleans itself out because heavy particles subside earlier, and they stay in the first couple of revolutions.
So this thing right here is a maze.
It's the maze. That's why we call it maze, exactly. So, and as it travels, if you smoke this pipe for a month, you can actually smoke this pipe for a month without cleaning, except the bowl, because it just allows you to do so. Actually, we had a couple customers saying that they were amazed because you don't have to clean this very often. And you will find out that a lot of resin and tar and all this garbage collects in this pipe rather than going inside your lungs. So this is very important. So the products that we design, and we have about 6 products now at Weedgets, are designed to make your smoking experience a lot more pleasant and a lot more safer than what it is with glass pipes. And as a matter of fact, this pipe is loaded with features. You can disconnect your own.
Tell me about this, because I actually tried using this feature the other day. I tried rolling a joint and putting it in here, and I didn't have the suction. So how do you actually turn this?
Well, majority of products that go there are pre-rolls. So when people buy pre-rolls, and people use now pre-rolls. A lot of people are being very lazy, rolling their own joints, and sometimes it's not easy to roll the joint. So it's very easy just to buy pre-roll, and you just insert it there. So, and basically what you see inside is a screen, and it just catches all this dirt and resin and makes the smoke a little bit cooler too, just enough for you to enjoy and really get the very, very smooth smoke. But what's important for this pipe is if we're sharing the pipe, and that's, if we smoke together, I use my own filter tip and you use your own, and we will prevent the spread of or minimize the spread of germs and viruses. And a lot of people, when they're sharing, they get mono disease, they get another disease, they spread their saliva. Who would want to do that? I mean, adults don't do this. Kids, maybe, teenagers. But when adults smoke, we got to be health conscious.
What was your impetus to get into smoking cannabis? Was that something you did throughout your whole life, or was there like a certain moment where you used it as like sort of an escape? And you can kind of move this mic to you wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because you'd be surprised that I'm very not typical smoker, because I started smoking when I was over 30. My first joint I had when I was over 30. And I was surprised for a couple of times. Didn't do anything for me until one day when, again, I was, looks like, forced to smoke with my friends. And all of a sudden I felt it for the first time. And I said, God. I said, it was great. And I think I understood it right then. And since then, I mean, it actually helps me to be a little bit more creative. It actually gives me a lot more energy rather than relaxes me. So it allows me to open my mind.
So you're the type of person that can smoke throughout the day and just be like good to go, like crushing calls, like rocking and rolling?
I can, but I don't. I don't smoke during the day simply because I have meetings and I want to be in my clear mind. But when I start working and designing things and I don't have to meet anybody, I can smoke during the day, and it actually helps me to be a lot more creative.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like for me, when I smoke, first of all, I like smoking cannabis because it makes me feel like I'm like 12 again. So when I'm just smoking, I'm just hanging out, looking at the lights. We have fill up LED bulbs throughout my whole house, and I'll just change all the lights, have them go red to green to blue.
Well, there's a lot more things that you can do to feel 12 again.
That is very true. And that's what it does for me, though. It makes me just feel like I just get giddy about the little things. Like I get so extra stoked and fired up, like as if it's the first time. That's the one thing I like about weed is that when I smoke, I feel like it's the first time I've gotten high, And I think that's the best feeling. And I think bowls particularly make me feel that way, because the first time I ever smoked was at a Dave Matthews Band concert. Shout out. I think I was 16 years old. SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center. And we smoked this little bowl, right? And I've always kind of been a lightweight, so I'm kind of like not the dude that can just like hammer a bowl. Like I smoke one rip and I'm good.
Yeah, no, I've done it for many years, but then you get a little bit more what do you call it? Tolerance. Yeah, when you get a little bit more tolerance with the smoke, and you can smoke a little bit more with the same effect. I have two kids, and while they were growing up, in my household, we never bought a single bottle of Coca-Cola or Pepsi or any soda for that matter. And I'm just happy that both of them grew up drinking just water and like juice maybe, but it's almost impossible for me to see none of my kids drinking soda.
That's so smart. When I grew up, I literally just used to pound sodas like until I was like 14 probably or 13. Root beer, Sprite. I mean, that was the vibe when you're playing like a binging Halo or something like that. But then once I started drinking water, it was so easy for me to give up soda. Like it was the easiest thing to give up. And
it's so good for you. It's so good that it is responsible for all the processes. The more you drink, the better you're gonna feel.
We had Rob Wolf on the podcast. He's like just a straight like amazing human being when it comes to understanding how the body works and bioengineer and all these types of things. And he helps create this product called Elements, and I put it into the water, and it's like this sodium boost, and it's basically for electrolytes. Yeah. And you add this little packet into the water, and it's so great. I mean, he sent me a bunch of them for free, and I ended up using them. Now I actually order them consistently. A little plug for Rob. He's just such a good guy. I just love his business. It's crazy what getting the right electrolytes will do for you, especially if you're doing the sauna as well.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. It's just like, it's interesting, these additives that we can just add to make our everyday life better, which in many ways is cannabis. And it's interesting what you're doing. I know you work with some amazing people like Kenny Thompson and just like some awesome people. Big shout out. Like you guys are really changing the game. And I think it's fascinating because coming from your background as a medical device creator and patent, you take something that, probably has been done the same way for so long, and you engineered this thing. no one loves your bowl more than you too. I mean, when you're smoking your thing, that's your baby.
That may be true, but I'm actually the one who's more critical about it than anybody else, because as you develop products, I mean, you look at the first revision and you again try to find what can you improve, what is wrong, what people complain about. So for me, when people give suggestions or they complain about something, this is a great opportunity for you to improve on what you've done in the past. So it's never ending
Feedback loop.
Right, it's a feedback loop, and it's never ending process, whether it's again medical device or pipes, and it is very important to constantly improve on things.
What is something that just disappoints you, knowing so much about the cannabis industry and how people do business? What are some of the things that you've learned sort of the hard way that it's just disappointing?
Right. Well, believe it or not, we are the only company in the United States, the only brand that is developing products specifically to address the issue of health. Because with all this news, cannabis being approved for use in different states and medical and recreational, everybody's jumping with joy and smoking, which is great. I mean, cannabis itself is a great product. But what people forget is that there are so many things that are so bad about this. It's actually, in a sense, if you talk to some doctors, they will tell you right away that smoking cannabis is a lot worse than smoking cigarettes, simply for a reason of cigarettes having filters. And cannabis contains this unburned material that gets in your lungs. We call it resin. It's not the good resin, it's the bad resin, that unburned toxic oils, unburned flower bits. This is, we call it altogether as resin, toxic resin. It gets in your alveoli and your little sacs in your lungs, and they have a very difficult time exhaling it because it's so sticky. So in a sense, your lungs of a constant smoker of cannabis without filters are much worse than a person who smokes cigarettes.
Damn, I've never heard that before.
And we are the only company that's addressing this. And unfortunately, we can't sell it on the premises of scaring people saying those things. But that's absolutely true. On our website, you will find a lot of images that shows the test, especially with our filter tips, that shows the difference when you smoke with our simple filter tip and without regular pre-roll cone joint. And although they claim they have a filter tip, the only filter the only word that they have is a tip. There are no filtration there whatsoever. It just catches maybe big particles, but all this resin flows inside your lungs, and that's really bad.
Got it. And just to confirm, you said it's not important to hold it in your lungs. So when you take a breath, it's
you have to exhale right away. It's very important to understand that you will not get high if you hold it even for 3 extra seconds, for 2 extra seconds. The absorption of terpenes and cannabis and cannabinoids are immediate, so it happens very fast. So if you're smoking, just don't hold your breath.
What is a cleaner way to smoke? Like using a bubbler that has some level of like water added to it, or like a Maze X?
Well, Maze X is a lot safer for a simple reason, because water will filter out big chunks of material that otherwise would have also flown. Maze X pipe actually filters additionally resin, which will just fly with the smoke through the bubbler. And actually, Maze X actually has triple filtration. And the first filtering that's happening is through physics, when it separates heavy particles from smoke. And the second filtration happens in the filter tip, that it may catch anything else that may fly through this by accident. And on top of it, there are charcoal filters. I don't have one with me, but you can insert a charcoal filter that additionally will filter.
That's what you're
tar.
always using too.
It's the tar that's also not.
You
really
order those
good
online?
You order those online. We're gonna start selling them ourselves in a few months as well. But it's very important. People. It's amazing just to read what people write about this pipe. I mean, they say this is the pipe to go. This is the best pipe I've ever smoked. This is the only pipe I'm gonna smoke from now. People are calling and texting us saying how did you come up with this? How did you improve? Because it's not just about the safety, it's the elevated experience when you don't have stuff, this crazy hot stuff flying in your mouth. Your mind is relaxed, you know you're protected, and you're going to enjoy that experience a lot more. Believe me, it's just like all you're thinking is about the enjoyment. And this pipe has, I think it's the best pipe in the world right now for those particular reasons.
Yeah, and I've heard those responses. I mean, I bought one myself because I was just fascinated with it when I first tried it. And it's my go-to. So, I mean, definitely damn good day endorsed. The Mazex pipe. Get yours today.
Exactly. And when we design a product, again, we write things that we want to address. Cleanability. Cleanability in the cannabis industry is one of the most important things. How do you clean the pipe? How do you clean this? How do you clean this? You're always constantly, playing around with this resin. Your fingers are sticky. This is also the easiest pipe to clean. It separates, opening up all the surfaces that were exposed to smoke, and you don't have to clean any insides because there are none. It separates. And you just drop it in the bag with isopropyl alcohol, 20 minutes, and then you rinse it under water. You don't even have to do anything with your hands. This is by far.
Well, I feel a big competitive advantage you had getting into this market is your background with all of these designing these devices. And I'm sure you know a lot about materials, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'm a material scientist as well because for many years I was a consultant for GE on a material database that they have developed. So I'm an expert in different thermoplastics, silicone materials. And let's talk about the silicone material itself, because this is a very important question for people, because now there's a lot of silicone products that are on the market, silicone bongs, silicone pipes, and this and that, and people are scared, because they're scared of all these crazy stories that when DuPont released that material years ago, and women started doing implantations with this material, and the leakage caused cancer. But actually, it's the safest material in the world, especially when it comes to food material, food grade silicone. This is what our mothers and wives use when they cook. You eat out of this silicone. It goes through a very high temperature. You have your food there. You eat. You feed your children. This is very safe.
How is silicone made?
How silicone made? Well, this is synthetic material. And if I was a biochemist, I would tell you exactly how it's made. But it's a mix of a couple of ingredients in some jar, and that's what they do, my assumption.
I mean, it's interesting because I used to have a fish tank cleaning company, and they use silicone to bind fish tanks together. So you can use it as like a natural amend and have entire coral reefs thrive with silicone.
Well, there are different grades of silicone. Food grade is one of the highest. We actually use the highest grade of silicone. It's a medical grade silicone, which is also very, very safe, safer, just as safe as food grade silicone. The only difference is that it's a lot more durable for repeated cyclic loading and usage, so it's a lot more durable, and it's a very safe material. And as a matter of fact, this is not a silicone pipe. It's a glass bowl pipe, because we use borosilicate glass bowl, and actually it's removable for ease of cleaning. So it's very easy to clean or replace. If you have 2 or 3 of them,
that is a cool feature.
Home,
there's like 3 different bowls.
And you take one and you put another one. But the silicone itself is already seeing a lot less temperature, so it's not burning the silicone. But interestingly enough, even if you burn silicone in a room, the fumes are not going to be toxic. It's a very inert, chemically inert material.
And plastics is obviously like the world's largest problem in society today, and we're destroying the world with it. My question for you is, knowing a lot about plastics, what are your thoughts about just like certain plastics that are used every day, like whether it be for a water bottle, whether it be for
it's a disaster. I mean, we all know this, that plastic is a disaster. That's why there are new technologies that are trying to make bottles out of a safer material that biodegrade a lot faster. Plastic is a problem. And even in the industry of cannabis, just look at how many Doob tubes. If you know what the Doob tube is, it's a tube that you carry your joint, and most of the time it's a plastic tube. There are millions of them. There's been so many articles that those plastic tubes are spread out everywhere, on the ground, everywhere, and it's bad. It's really, really bad. So we actually came up with a solution for that as well. So I forgot about it, but We have this Doob tubes made out of aluminum. You put them on the ground. It's a natural material. It's
Aluminum.
biocompatible. It's aluminum. It's a simple aluminum.
Aluminum's for everything. We're cooking the grills. They're made of aluminum. No,
Yeah,
stainless.
yeah,
No, that's
and-
stainless steel. I apologize.
Well, this is my favorite Doob tube. So what it is, it's again, it's a joint carrying case. But what we do is we add filtration. So this is one of a kind, very unique Doob tube that has filtration in it. And that's actually the charcoal filter. That's what filters the tar. So when people smoke through this and they inhale, it feels like they're inhaling air. That's how smooth it is, because it's very, very clean. And what's interesting, our new version of Doob tube, you can swim with this. You can actually dive onto 100 meters of depth. And the double seal, the integrated double seal that we introduced into this Doob tube will keep your joint completely dry. And as a matter of fact, just every time when you go skiing or snowboarding, how cool is that? You put it inside, it's not plastic, you fall, it's so strong, and your joint is always dry.
The joint's always. I know Sky's gonna be using that.
Safety meetings is what we call it. Head into the woods.
I want to go free diving with it. I think we have some coming here. I'm gonna try to take one free diving and do a video of like taking it 50 feet down underwater and then see if the Doob tube keeps the joint
Yeah, I think
dry.
so. I think we
How funny would it be to like put a Doob tube in the ocean for like 2 months and then pick it up and use it as like a case study?
Well, you're not gonna swim for a couple of months, but what I suggest you to do when you get those Doob tubes, just go swimming. Show them, you put them in your swim trunks and go swimming. And when you come back, I want you to check and show the video of this joint.
That's a great idea. We're gonna put that together.
And this is not also a carrying case. It is also, as I don't see any ashtrays here. I can put it inside.
It works
And
as an ashtray.
It works as an ashtray.
Got it. Would it like if I flipped it upside down? Would it then
It will fall all the ash.
So yeah. You want to
And,
keep.
and while it's burning, you can put it inside. And put it inside my pocket. And it's a smell proof. And it's a waterproof. So all those things, coming back to our earlier conversation, how do you develop the process for product development? That's exactly what we were talking about. You take on the features that are very important for people. And you try to solve them.
I love that, man. And I love the deconstructing nature of it, from taking a complex medical device or heart device that's supposed to, save someone's life, taking that and applying it to something as simple and fun as marijuana. My question is, what else is something that you've been like, if you could live another life, right, you would want to go deeper into? Like, what other fields of study from an engineering standpoint do you think that you would love to spend more time on, or are more fascinating as we progress as a species?
It's so hard for me to actually think about anything else because I'm so in love with what I do. And throughout my whole career, I was just so many times I was so thankful for, thank you for letting me be a mechanical engineer. Thank you very much, because every time it's different. Every time you're doing something, it's not, it's different. It's different field, it's different technologies required, and you learn. And as a matter of fact, I don't just design medical devices. I've licensed a couple of toys. We've sold some technologies to other companies for kids and for sexual toys. It was the funniest. I have some funny stories. If I scratch my head, I'll probably remember, maybe for the next podcast. But I absolutely love those interesting stories that happened to me. And we've designed plastic penises, and unfortunately we had to do it. The only thing, but I have my personal beliefs and some other things. Like we would never work on anything related to military. I mean, that was my thing. That I don't own a gun. I mean, I've served in the army for 2 years because I came from Soviet Union. So back then,
you served in the Soviet
Union?
I
served in the Soviet Union for 2 years, back to back, 2 years.
How old were you?
From 18 to 20.
What's that experience like?
That's a horrifying experience.
You
That's,
don't have a choice?
Yeah, you don't have a choice. I mean, we all, at that age, at 18, we all think about, oh, this is going to be so light and easy, but it's not the most pleasant experience in your life, I would tell you. You have no voice. You have nothing to say. You just have to do whatever you're told. Whoever is older and higher in the rank, you just do whatever you're told, and this is not your life. This is, you become a slave, a well-fed slave, or maybe not well-fed slave, but nevertheless you're a slave for 2 years, and you have your own opinion.
Is 2 year the minimum that you have to do?
It's usually 2 years now. I think it's a year, but back then it was 2 years in the Soviet.
So everyone that grows up there has to do that, or?
Yeah, everybody, unless you have medical issues, or if you have some other channels.
Interesting.
Because everything is bought in Russia. You can buy your way out.
Interesting world. I mean, I remember even talking a little bit, bringing up the Russian thing, and you're like, no, like you didn't even want to talk about it because it's probably just so aggravating.
No, absolutely nothing aggravates me. You forgot. Nothing. I can talk about anything.
Well, I'm curious then. What is like your general, like, because you have family there, and like what's good with Russia?
Well, thank God all my family is here, and they've been here for a long time. But every day I thank this force of God for allowing me to come here, and I thank this country because this country gave me everything, and I don't know how to tell it to my children to be thankful for it, because they did not experience what I experienced. So everything I think in this life comes with your own experience. Yeah. And you can't transfer your own experience to somebody else's mind.
So that terrible experience of having to serve for 2 years is really a big reason you hate guns.
Well, actually, it's not because of that, but it just, I don't believe in solving problems with a force. I don't believe in forceful resolution of any conflict. So I think it's a failure of people who cannot find common grounds and think about people who are behind their backs. That's why I'm against physical and forceful resolutions of any kind. So that's the reason.
Yeah, I love that.
But I wouldn't say that serving in the army was the horrible experience. It was not pleasant, but like from any other experience, you can actually learn a lot from.
But that must mature you real quick, man.
It forms you as a man. When you grow up with a lot of things that you cannot do, it brings you up your maturity a lot faster.
And you appreciate life.
You appreciate life so much.
Because you can see how quickly
you appreciate life so much.
Too.
There've been a few instances where I could have lost my life, even being not at war, just being in the regular positions there. So because.
Are you still friends with some of the people you served with?
Absolutely. Actually, I talk to some of those guys on Skype once in a while, and again, I'm thankful to this country because those guys look there in their 90s. So that's how people age in Russia, very fast. Very fast. So.
Yeah, wrestling bears. That's the stereotype.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I think adversity is what makes people. I actually ordained my first wedding this weekend on a super yacht. Did you meet
cool.
Matt Dodge?
I saw the pictures.
Yeah, so we there was like about 200 people, and on the yacht's called the Seafair in Miami.
Yeah, the Seafair.
And it was just amazing. Probably the most gangster,
awesome.
Beautiful wedding. And
I
had the honor of ordaining and ministering my two best friends, Haley Wilson and Matthew Dodge, Mr. and Mrs. Matthew and Haley Dodge. And it was just a beautiful experience, man.
That's cool.
Just like bringing people together. It's great when you get to when you know someone, it makes that whole experience way better. Because I was so nervous before it. Like, obviously, this is like their biggest day, and I know how much was gone into it. But I mean, Sky, what do you think? You think it was good?
You rocked it, man. It was incredible.
It was deep. There was good energy, good people. And I don't know where that came up with, but I was just thinking about adversity. That's what it came. And I did this line about adversity, and I know like Haley had gone through a lot of adversity in her life, and everyone started crying at one point. And it's so interesting though that literally what the world needs more is adversity, because the second things start getting good, it turns you soft and it makes you not going stuff. But when you've gone through shit, for me, some of my adversity was my health issues and some other stuff. Like that makes me appreciate. Like I'm drinking elemental diet every day for 2 weeks. Like that's adversity, you know. But afterwards, I'm telling you, when I freaking eat a straight burger after this, oh my God, my saliva is about to have a straight. It's gonna get weird, you know. It's gonna get weird.
Well, we'll do some burger party on the roof.
Burger party sounds so great.
Burger party.
Burgers are just such a good staple to have at any party.
Exactly.
Burgers, wings. Except we haven't yet found a good wing spot in Miami.
We'll do the burgers. How about that? I'll do the burgers.
The burgers. That's the way it goes.
With onions.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to be a Russian burgers.
What is a Russian burger?
Just like the same as American, only cooked by a Russian. So you're safe. There is no Russian herring or caviar.
I think we found the best burger place in Miami. It's called UNCB Burgers.
USBS.
United States Burger Service. It's at the Citadel in Miami Shores. He's actually coming on the podcast next Wednesday, the guy who started it, because we were so fascinated. We were like, bro, like we need to meet you. Can you explain that burger real quick?
I mean, it's hard to explain because it's just so good. And when you say that about a burger, people need to experience it themselves, or else you're just kind of talking it up. It's tough to explain.
But what it is, though, it's almost like a steak and cheese.
They're using prime grade meat, so they're putting a lot of effort into sourcing good meat for the burger, and then their bun is good.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, the bun is very thin bun, right? Very thin bun.
Yeah, well, I will check it out.
This is this one scenario where thin buns are preferred.
Yes, I will check it out.
Yeah, there it is. Well, man, I'm so fired up that we even got this going. One question I always like to ask everybody that comes on the Damn Good Day show, it's a damn good day to have a damn good day, is if you could go back in time, and I know like one thing you love your son, like you're talking about, you're so excited about what he's doing. You're always talking about your son. He's the best. Absolutely. Big shout out. But if you could go back in time and say to yourself, maybe like you that just got out of, even like right before you even entered the military, if current you could flash back in time, talk to younger you and say, hey, listen, man, I only got a minute or two, but here's 1, 2, or 3 things that could save you a ton of time, money, headache, heartache. And obviously the best answer is I wouldn't have said anything because it made me who I am and life's the best teacher. But that's a terrible answer for this question. What would be some of those lessons you'd probably tell yourself?
Well, I think the first one would be probably just learn from other people's mistakes, not from your own. But we all know it doesn't work. But, you constantly got to criticize yourself. If you want to be, shooting to the stars, you constantly have to criticize, making a critique that, not hating, but criticizing, always finding things that what you could have done differently and a little bit better. And I think it's very important. So... And there was a third thing, but I forgot.
that's the Maze X kit.
Right, that's the Maze X.
And for someone building a business, like I've used you as a nice mentor with us building cigars.com. That's cigars with an S. Shout out. As someone building a business and learning and growing, what are some of your advice to some of those first time entrepreneurs that are out there, whether this be their first venture, their 20th, that you've seen helped you a lot as you guys have built your business to doing very impressive today?
Well, I think it's extremely important for a young business person, entrepreneur, is actually not to bend under pressure, because that's because most of the time when you run a business, it's not going to be about counting the money or making a successful parties and doing this and that. This all comes later. Majority of business day-to-day operation is dealing with issues and problems, and a lot of people who are willing to bend on the simple first red light or a little problem, as they think maybe it could be a big problem, those people don't survive. So the real entrepreneur will have to learn how to deal with stress and issues and without bending. I think it's very important.
Yeah, dealing with stress, dealing with
just go through it, grind every day. This is exactly what you need
Professional
to do.
firefighter. putting out
Exactly.
fires.
It's not business is not about everyday's parties and success and money. Everyday business is about solving problems.
Because you're putting a full day's work, and you might have made no money that day. You might have been negative money, but you're building your brand. You're building the
doesn't
large
matter.
picture.
Don't count the money. Money comes as a derivative of what you're doing as a business. Money is not the primary reward. It's the reward that's going to come by itself. If you're going to chase money, you may never get it. But if you chase success, the money come by itself.
I was just talking on this training call because I'm a part of an organization called Modere, and it's just this like really cool social retail company where people can earn a residual income, work from home, do all that stuff. And they asked like for one simple tip, and I think the biggest thing is just whatever side hustle or part-time thing you do, whether it be your full-time, you just need to be indoctrinated into it. It needs to be part of you. Like it's not something you're half in. You're all in you're all in part-time, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
You know, it's part of you. It's who you are. It's your identity, you know? And now all of a sudden it's not hard to get up because it's what you do. It's like having a dog. You got to go feed that thing, and I'm getting a dog soon, so I'm trying to mentally prepare myself.
You can do two things in life. You can work on your work, making it better, and you can succeed and you can be very successful and doing well. But if you work constantly on yourself every day and making yourself better and trying to understand what you could have done differently and critiquing yourself, you are destined to just being on the top.
I think that's a great way to end this. Michael, how can everybody follow you? How can they follow the Weedgets journey? How can they continue this
simple.
thing?
It's Weedgets with double E instead of I. And Weedgets.com. You can always check out the link at the Damn Good Show. And I hope you can put that link there. Or just Google Weedgets. You'll find us or Google
the Maze X.
Maze X. It's the simplest way.
It's the best. Man, I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to our next party. We're going to make
great.
this a normal. You're going to become a routine guest.
Absolutely.
Till next time,
we'll do
homie.
some Elon Musk smoking. We're going to call it Elon Musk smoking show.
Yeah, we'll have a flamethrower next time. Just be ripping it on your rooftop to Abraham DJing.
Absolutely, yes.
That's a great idea.
Well, that's a lot of weed.
That is a lot of weed.
We know how to smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah, we
at
do.
your parties.
For sure.
All right, man. We appreciate
Thank you,
Till
guys.
next
Thank
time.
you. Great being here.